So sticking with the government, they plan to borrow about $30 billion from 2016 to this year to 2018. 61% of these loans will be on infrastructural projects, with 86.3% of this borrowing going to the federal government, which is about $25.8 billion, and $4.1 billion going to the states. Now, these funds are coming from Eurobond, the African Development Bank, Japan International Cooperation Agency, Islamic Development Bank, and the China Exim Bank. So the breakdown of the $29.96 billion is $4.8 billion going to the Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project, $3.5 billion going into Railway Modernization Coastal Project. Abuja Mass Transit Project will take about $1.6 billion. That's the phase 2 of that project. The Lagos to Kano Railway Modernization Project, that's the Lagos to Ibadan segment, will take about $1.3 billion. Lagos to Kano, the Kano to Kaduna segment will take about $1.1 billion. Other projects taking about $6 billion. And the Eurobond will consist of about $4.5 billion. FG budget support, $3.5 billion. Education and health, $2.2 billion. Agriculture, $1.2 billion. Economic management and statistics, $200 million. So with this development, it is a welcome development. Certainly, this government has laid a lot of emphasis into infrastructural development, certainly with capital expenditure. The finance minister has come out a number of times saying we need to spend our way out of, the recession. This kind of infrastructural development is good. It creates jobs. You have a situation whereby now goods can flow more effectively. You're increasing business now because when there is a means of transferring goods efficiently from point A to point B, there is no spoilage of goods in transit. Goods are able to go quicker, and you have a lot more of a vibrant business environment in Nigeria. So this is welcome. The only problem I have is with borrowing, and even though I would sort of be in agreement with the opposition party, the PDP, who has criticized the president for borrowing, the only reason I have to not like borrowing is that you don't own these you don't own this infrastructure. You have to pay it back. At the end of the day, we need to start looking at what does Nigeria own. We don't want a situation whereby we have all this development, but we don't own any of it. So I do hope that even if it is private, at least let it be private citizens of Nigeria or Africans. I know that the Africa Development Bank is involved in this, but I would have liked to see more investment from other African countries. We need to start supporting ourselves. I've always believed that African countries need to support ourselves instead of looking outwards. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the People's Democratic Party has been critical of the presidency on this. While I do agree that, I am skeptical with borrowing, there would be no need for borrowing if they had effectively utilized all the money we had made from oil the past 3-4 years that oil was at the highest it has ever been. If they had actually developed our infrastructure or past projects for development, we wouldn't need to be spending this money now. This infrastructure would already be in place. We'd have a nice cushion to fall back on, and really, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now. So they have no real rights to come out and be critical of the government, because at the end of the day, they oversaw the country for 16 years and were unable to effectively utilize our resources to put us in a situation where we have actual infrastructure.